Hello, learners. I'm Dr. Shea, and welcome to Teachers in Context, where research meets reality.
Hello, learners. I'm Dr. Shea, and welcome to Teachers in Context, where research meets reality. This week, we'll explore how research informs real classroom decisions by focusing on text selection and instructional purpose. We'll examine how choosing the right supplemental texts can increase student engagement, support literacy development across content areas, and help teachers intentionally design learning experiences that meet diverse student needs. Spoiler alert, the textbook cannot do all the work by itself. Are you ready for a story time? Well, put on your seatbelt and let's go.
Years ago, I was teaching the Scarlet Letter. And let me tell you, my students were like, what on earth is happening here? Long sentences, Puritan guilt, public shaming with embroidery. They were absolutely not buying in. The textbook was technically fine, aligned with the curriculum, approved by the district, all the things for an English class. And yet my students were bored out of their minds, like staring at the clock and questioning every life choice that led them to this super duper extra boring class. At first, I thought I was doing the right academic thing. I tried using Of Plymouth Plantation by William Bradford as a supplemental text, thinking, this is a great primary source. It was an authentic Puritan voice. It was context. In theory, it made sense. In practice, it was a disaster. Instead of clarifying anything, it doubled down on the confusion. The language was dense, the tone was relentlessly serious, and somehow the Puritan guilt got even heavier. My students went from, I don't get this, to why do these people hate joy so much? And you know what? It didn't humanize the Puritans, it made them feel like the final boss of boredom. So much for scaffolding. Dr. Jackson, 0. Disengaged students, 35. So I made a shift. I scraped my first disaster of a choice and instead added a short supplemental text, which happened to be a simple nonfiction article I found on the internet explaining Puritan life and social values. Nothing fancy, but it had just enough context to help them understand the world Hester Prynne was living in. And then I took it a step further and created an Instagram-style project where students reimagined social media blogs during the Hester Prynne scandal, which in turn made them research what the Puritans ate, how did they dress, what kind of music did they listen to, and how did they get around, what did they use for transportation. And suddenly, it clicked. Hester wasn't just a character in an old book anymore. She was the girl who got doxxed, the girl who was trolled and navigating public judgment, defending her reputation and identity in ways that felt very real to them. The same students who didn't want to read were now debating themes, making connections, and actually engaging with the text, and even using the supplemental text to explain their positions. Swapping the text from one that didn't work to one that did work led to a host of other supplemental materials such as music and lyrics, articles about clothing and religion, and even food recipes. Dr. Jackson, 35. Students, 35. Yes, I clawed my way back. That's when it hit me. The issue wasn't reading. It was what they were reading and how they were being asked to read it. A simple supplemental internet article was able to explain societal norms of the Puritans in ways that the book itself or a real live account from an actual Puritan could not. And that's the key idea this week. Regardless of the content area you teach, choosing supplemental text matters. When I'm deciding whether a text earns a spot in my unit, I mentally run through a few questions. Is the text at an appropriate level, or will it shut students down? Do all students have access to it? Will it actually hold their interest, or am I the only one excited about it? Is it different from what I've already assigned? And just as importantly, how am I going to use it independently, in groups, or as a whole class? I also think about significance and time. Does this text deepen understanding or is it just extra? And do I realistically have time to teach it well? And here's the truth: you will not reach every student with every text. That's not failure, that's reality. But if you vary your texts intentionally, chances are each student will connect with something at least once. And sometimes that one connection is all it takes.
So let's talk about what this looks like for you this week. For your discussion, you'll go back to the reading by Schoenbach and focus on text sets. You'll explain the major differences between vertical and horizontal text sets, and then hypothesize a classroom situation where one type of text set would be more effective than the other. This is your chance to think practically, not just define terms, but explain when and why you would use each approach. For your written assignment, you'll work with a short case study. Mr. Stevens is a 12th grade English teacher preparing a unit on British Romantic literature. While the textbook provides several poems, he wants to increase student interest by adding supplemental texts. Your task is to explain the process Mr. Stevens should use to select those texts, supported by research, and then choose 2 supplemental texts that would work well for this unit. You'll describe each text and defend your choices using evidence from the readings. You'll also complete a portfolio assignment where you'll shift content areas. Pretend you are a 10th grade history teacher beginning a unit on the Civil War. You'll decide what factors matter most when selecting a supplemental student text and explain whether you would choose a fiction or nonfiction piece and why. This is where you get to apply the same text selection principles to a different discipline. All 3 tasks connect directly to what we talked about today: choosing texts intentionally, thinking about purpose, and using research to guide instructional decisions. So as you move through this week, keep this in mind. Effective teaching doesn't come from assigning more reading. It comes from assigning the right reading. When we choose text intentionally, grounded in research, and responsive to our students, we create opportunities for deeper understanding, stronger literacy skills, and real engagement across content areas. That's all for now. I'm Dr. Shea, and I'll see you next week.